He has served in the communities for his entire life. Larry Newman is former deputy sheriff and detective and also a firefighter from Jasper County, and now serves as let me make sure I get it right, president of the Missouri Alliance of Professional Bail Bonds Agents. He's on the live line. Hi, Larry.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Oh, it's great here in the Ozarks this morning.
You betcha. It's so pretty there. Been able to visit a few times, but it doesn't matter where you go in the beautiful state of Missouri. It seems like the numbers of violent crimes are going up and up and up, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
How come?
Accountability, lack of accountability. When you take the punishment away from committing a crime, there's no accountability.
Yeah, I agree. And everybody is a victim now, including some of my own family members, refuse to believe that their own actions were their own fault.
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't that sad? How did we get here, Larry?
Well, they realize it's their own fault, but there's no penalty. There's no accountability. Well, you commit a crime or any other action, and there's no accountability, responsibility, or penalty for a bad act. Those actions are going to continue and going to get worse. It has throughout all of human history.
Yeah, and under the guise of COVID or under the guidelines or even the reason of COVID, we are letting some pretty seriously bad perps back out on the street just so that they don't get sick. So that frightens me, that people are more scared of a fever. I know that this is a deadly disease for some parts of the population. Don't get me wrong. I'm not underplaying the fact that it can be a huge risk factor, but I would rather a pedophile stay in jail.
Yeah, we all would.
Yeah, well, not all of us, because they're letting them out.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so with a lack of accountability and the rise in violent crime, what do we do? I mean, we know what the cause is. It's lack of accountability, but we can't seem to get half of America to agree that the perpetrators are not the victims. What do we do at this point?
Well, I think the assumption that half of America is okay with this happening is incorrect. I mean, in my heart, I feel like that most of America sees what's happening and they're against this. But we have to bring accountability back. If someone breaks into your house tonight, in the middle of the night,
they're getting shot,
forces their way in, and assaults you or threatens you and takes your property, that person has exhibited the willingness to hurt you. Mm-hmm. And they need to go to jail, and they need to have some serious penalty, some accountability, some penalty that is sufficient to deter those future actions.
But what if they were hungry, Larry? What if their family was starving and you have things and they want them?
That's always happened throughout human history. We've always had envy and a desire to have what somebody else has.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods. It's one of the laws.
That's correct. But humans, to be able to live together, to have a civilization, didn't happen the first time three people got together. Mm-hmm. There has to be rules. The rules have to be followed. And there has to be severe penalties for not following the rules. Or you lose civilization. You lose the ability to have a society.
We're seeing that happen right now because I know in some parts of the country, I know in one town in Texas, I believe it's Austin, and in parts of California, police aren't even coming. They're giving you like a 3-digit number to call if there's not an intruder pointing a gun at your head. They'll get there and help you clean up afterwards because they don't have enough police.
Well, not only do they not have enough police, but anytime that they take appropriate action, they get suspended, they get arrested, they get prosecuted for taking appropriate actions.
And it's got to be frustrating, Larry, to look for some dude or dudette out there who has done something severe to another human being, you find them. You arrest them. You struggle with them. You fight for your life. They get tried. They get put in jail, and they're out in 3 months, and you see them on the street. That's got to just frost your bucket.
Well, it used to. Now they're not getting those 3 months.
Yeah, no, now
they are going in front of the judge. They can. Let's go back to the person that broke into your house tonight. They can go in the front of the judge tomorrow and walk in front of the judge and say, I'm guilty, give me my penalty. And the penalty that the judge is allowed to give is, okay, you've got 5 years in Department of Corrections, but we will suspend that and place you on probation because you promised to be a good boy.
Mm-hmm.
So this very same day, they get back out. They promise to go check in with probation and parole. They don't. They break into another house tonight.
Mm-hmm. And someone could die. I'm telling you right now, Larry, they get past my dog and they get to me, they will lose their life in my house. That's why I'm so thankful Missouri has the Castle Doctrine, because I will protect my own. I will.
Well, that's exactly what it's coming to,
mm-hmm.
to be able to protect yourself, because as good as the police are, as diligent as we were, I was still 10 minutes away from a call getting there.
In the county, yeah.
To help somebody. And 10 minutes is an eternity when you're in a struggle for your life.
Or if you're bleeding. I mean, let's be honest here. 10 minutes is life itself, if that's how long it takes. And I'm not saying I think everybody should go crazy militia and arm up, but, I mean, you've got to make sure you have a way to protect yourself beyond Alexa, call 911. Teach your children how to react, where to hide, have a safe space for them in the house where they can go and hide so the perp may not find them. I mean, there are all sorts of things people need to think about because we are defunding and causing our own problem.
Correct. If you're building a new house, build a safe room.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's kind of hard to do nowadays because everybody's struggling a little bit. But I have a place where the baby would go hide. I have a German Shepherd who thinks people are food. You get in my house, you get past her. I've already had enough time to get at least 3 clips and a couple of weapons. You're not getting to me. So
but
don't break into my house.
Let's stop that before it happens.
But we aren't,
and the
though,
way
Larry.
You do that, I know. But you asked me the question about how do we solve this problem?
Mm-hmm.
We put accountability and we put penalties back in the criminal justice system.
How do we do that?
And in Missouri, it is not the legislature, because the legislature has done their part. The penalties are in the statutes.
Okay. So the judges need to step up.
The judges, the Supreme Court judges, who changed the rules that the local judges have to follow, mandate the leniency for people who commit a crime.
Right. And I know some people who, let's say, get caught with a giant amount of marijuana who go to jail longer than someone who raped a child. I mean, that's just messed up.
I have seen that. You are correct, and that is a travesty.
Yep. If you hurt a tiny child in a sexual way, I don't think you should ever get out. I'm sorry. I don't think you're rehabilitatable.
That's correct. If you hurt any other person maliciously, then the penalty needs to be severe, because without that severe penalty, there's no deterrent to continue or to escalate.
Well, I am just, I'm with you on all of this, but I just don't see how it's going to happen. With all of the division that we have going on right now, Missouri, we might have some hope because we have some pretty solid judges, but it keeps perpetuating in the wrong direction here in the last 3 years.
Well, talk to your local legislator.
I do.
The legislator that lives in your hometown, that represents you, that is your neighbor. Talk to that person. Your state representative, your state senator. Go to them and tell them, put some penalty back in the criminal justice system. Put some accountability back in the criminal justice system.
Yep.
They can do it.
Well, they can, but then we've got to get it to stick, because every time we have an election and we get a new judge appointed, then things go jabberwocky on us again. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster, Larry. That's why I almost feel hopeless on this.
Well, the legislature can change the way that Supreme Court justices in Missouri are chosen. They can change the accountability for those justices. Mm-hmm. So it comes back to the state legislature to put the teeth back in the criminal justice system, to put the accountability for the justices in Missouri.
Yeah.
So that hold them accountable for the actions that they're taking.
Well, as president of the Missouri Alliance of Professional Bail Bonds Agents, you have a vested interest in this because you have to deal with these people constantly.
Well, I have a business just like every other insurance agent has a business. Mm-hmm. And we sell surety bonds. When a judge sets a $10,000 bond, if the family doesn't have $10,000, they can purchase for 10% a surety bond, which gets their family member released. Mm-hmm. But surety bonds, bail bonds, have an accountability factor. If the defendant flees the jurisdiction, we as licensed bail bond agents have the statutory authority to follow that defendant wherever he is, to take him into custody and return him to the jurisdiction where he committed the crime to face the justice system and get satisfaction for the victim.
Larry, I want you to go help Dog find this laundry dude. You'd be good at that. You need to do that.
Dwayne is doing everything he can.
Dwayne will get him. All right. Wouldn't you be scared to death if you were like in a swamp area and Dog the bounty hunter came running at you? I'd just die of fright. That's all. That would just be over. All right. So if people want to learn more about what needs to be done, Larry, where do they go to learn about what the statutes are, what the judges are doing? Where do they go to learn about all of this stuff?
Go to your local legislator. Go to your local representative and ask them the tough questions. Ask them the hard questions. How do we get accountability back? How do we stop the Supreme Court justices from giving the criminals a free pass?
Yeah, and if
they are the ones that can fix this.
And if you murder somebody, there should be no bail. I don't know why we put bail on that.
Well, it's an interpretation of the Constitution, Missouri Constitution. Missouri Constitution says all persons shall be bailable by sufficient surety, unless there is sufficient evidence of danger to the public.
Yeah.
So the judge, the prosecutor, and law enforcement are privy to that information. Mm-hmm. So, yes, the judge has the ability to set a no bond, and they can use that.
Okay.
But right now, in our upside-down world, the judges are so subject to criticism for being too harsh on this poor person that just killed somebody. It's difficult for the local justices to do what they know they need to do.
Yeah. Well, they're lucky I'm not a judge, because things would be full up in here, Larry. All right. Larry Newman is a former deputy sheriff and detective and firefighter with Jasper County. He now works with he is the president of the Missouri Alliance for Professional Bail Bond Agents. Bail bondsmen are busy people because there are a lot of criminals out there, folks, and many of them get a slap on the wrist and are back on the street. Larry would like to see that change, and I would like to see more funding for police, higher salaries for the dangerousness of the job that equals the pay. That would be great. Larry, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.